For 15 years, his body was sending him a warning sign. He told himself it was nothing. He was wrong. It all started when he was just a kid, maybe 10 or 12 years old. In the shower, if he bent his toes too far, the skin in between them would just crack. It was a sharp, annoying little pain. He had sensitive skin, always had. It got dry easily. So naturally, he figured that's all this was. A little bit of lotion, and he'd forget all about it. When he mentioned it to his mom, she didn't seem concerned, so he wasn't either. It was just one of those weird things his body did. And so, the years went by. He became a teenager, then an adult. And the cracking continued. It became a part of his life, a low-level annoyance he just accepted. His skin is dry. Things crack. It hurts a little. He's an adult now, you suck it up, put some lotion on it, and you move on. It was his normal. But he was about to learn that his normal was a 15-year-long mistake. A couple of months ago, that low-level annoyance suddenly screamed for his attention. One of his toes started to itch. And not just a little itch, a deep, maddening, impossible to ignore itch. He looked down and saw that the toe was swollen, and had taken on a strange, purplish hue. This was new. This was not normal. He knew he should probably see a doctor, but getting a short notice appointment was a nightmare. They only took calls in the morning, right when he was busiest with work. So he did what so many of us do. He decided to wait, to see how it went. He started playing detective, trying to figure it out himself. The house was always cold, and he had a habit of never wearing socks. He was so used to the chill that he barely even felt it anymore. He figured it must be chilblains, a painful inflammation of small blood vessels in your skin that respond to cold. It made sense. The symptoms lined up. The solution? Just baby the foot for a few weeks, keep it warm, and it should go away on its own. So, he started wearing socks. Religiously. For a month, he kept his feet warm and protected. And at first, it seemed to work. The swelling went down. The terrible itching finally faded away. He felt a wave of relief. He'd figured it out. He'd solved the mystery. But then, something else started happening. The skin on that same toe began to peel. Not in a dramatic way, just a light flaking. It didn't look that bad. So he fell back into his old habit. A little lotion, a little more waiting. He was sure it would sort itself out. One night, he was just scrolling on his phone, killing time before bed, when a post appeared that made him freeze. It was a story from a total stranger, but they were describing his exact problem. The same strange cracking in the webbing between their toes. The same thing he had dismissed as dry skin for over a decade. He read on, his curiosity piqued. And as he scanned through the responses, he saw the same two words, over and over again. Athlete's foot. His first reaction was denial. A hard, immediate no. It couldn't possibly be athlete's foot. He washed his feet every day. He wasn't walking around barefoot in public locker rooms. He was clean. Besides, he'd looked up pictures of athlete's foot before, and they were always horrible. Blisters, raw skin, weeping sores. What he had was nothing like that. It was just a few minor, annoying cracks. This was impossible. But the idea was planted. A tiny seed of doubt that started to grow. It lingered in the back of his mind for days. What if? What if all those people were right? What if he'd been wrong for 15 years? He looked it up. The treatment, an antifungal cream, was available over the counter. You could just buy it at the store. It wasn't even that expensive. And he thought, even if it's a waste of money, what if it works? What if this simple little tube of cream could erase a problem he'd had since he was a child? He bought the cream, feeling completely foolish. He was convinced he was just throwing money away on a hunch. But he committed to it. Every single evening, he religiously applied the cream to his feet. He started doing something else he'd always thought was pointless. After every shower, he meticulously dried the skin between each and every toe, making sure not a single drop of moisture remained. He started the treatment, convinced he was wasting his time. And for the first few days, it seemed like he was right. In fact, things looked worse. The skin that used to crack was now peeling more than ever. He almost gave up. But what happened next is the part that proves you should never, ever ignore your body's smallest signals. He kept going. He stuck with the routine. The cream every night. The drying after every shower. And then, he noticed something. The peeling, it wasn't so bad anymore. And the skin, it wasn't cracking. A week went by. No cracks. He'd never gone a full week without it happening. He held his breath. Another week passed. Still nothing. The familiar little fissures, the ones that had been his constant companions for a decade and a half, were gone. The skin was smooth. It was whole. There's no way to go back in time and test what was on his skin for all those years. But he knows. The evidence is right there on his own 2 feet. The problem that plagued him since childhood, the issue he dismissed as just a personal quirk, was gone. Wiped out by a $10 tube of cream and a new habit of drying his toes. He spent 15 years just living with it. 15 years of minor pain, of cracked skin, of putting on lotion and hoping for the best. He normalized it to the point where he never even considered it was a real, treatable condition. It was just a part of him. And now, it's not. He learned a powerful lesson. It is not normal for the skin between your toes to crack. And sometimes, the simplest solutions are hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to stop accepting our discomfort as destiny. It's easy to judge and say he should have seen a doctor sooner, but think about it. It was a minor problem that started in childhood and was dismissed by the adults around him. He was taught, implicitly, that this was not a big deal. So he carried that belief into adulthood. He adapted to the discomfort because it's what he'd always known. The real question isn't why it took him so long, but how many of us are doing the exact same thing right now? How many of us are walking around with our own 15-year problem that we've just learned to ignore? And what's more frustrating, living with the problem for years, or discovering the solution was simple, cheap, and waiting on a pharmacy shelf the whole time?